One is I must state it categorically clear that on this issue, I might not be a fan of the present administration, owing to my political background. But on the issues we are to discuss right now, I will be speaking if I were president. Uh, Most of the policies the current president has just put on board are actually good policies. I call them good policies because I will tell you the best time to make some very important policies that could affect the lives of the citizens are in the beginning of an administration or in the end of an administration. Why do I say so? It takes a lot of time to adjust to change, right? If I are president also, I think there's no day I will bring in policies that are new to the people that they will not really see as something that is quite different. So these things are done timely. If it comes to timely, the time is perfect. But the other thing I would also say is one thing that comes with policy is critical engagement. Yes, the president might have been so quick to unleash his policies, especially the one he made on the inauguration day. But I tell you, the said president must have been doing campaigns in the last 3 months where he has been saying the same thing. So he has been talking to his followers, telling them that from the day one he's going to hit the ground running, he's going to take out fuel subsidy. He hasn't saying it. So for those on that view, I don't think they are surprised. They knew that he's going to take it off. But for so many Nigerians who were on the other view during the campaign era, they saw it as a surprise because they were not expecting it. And unfortunately, a lot of Nigerians are on the other area. But well, if the policy is good, it's a good policy. Most of the policies he has rolled out are good policies. You know, talking of the fuel subsidy, the student loan, the forest unification, you know, these policies are top-notch policies that every well-meaning Nigerian would want to address those things head-on because they are things that have been developing this nation. You know, so I think it's not so bad, the policies he has put on ground. But what we want to see next is how these policies are being sustained, how these policies come out on the long run to affect the average man of the country, to affect the average citizens. What are the long-term plan? The short-term plan definitely we know is suffer a little, enjoy forever. We want to know that enjoyment forever. That is what we want to know. That is why the president, as long as we are concerned, has to engage the citizens as far as he is elected democratically. I want to see a president who is able to come out and explain these policies. We want to see a president who is able to come out and explain it in layman's terms. He might not be an expert in forex, he might not be an expert in the education sector, he might not be an expert in the petroleum industry, but at least when he sit down with his economic advisors and they explain to him, it's his duty to explain to Nigerians. That is why he was elected. That is why he is sitting down there. So he owes a lot of explanations to do for his policies to thrive. Because if you're making policies that are rejected by the people, then I don't think the policies make sense.
Okay, now you mentioned earlier that, you know, during his campaign, he focused a lot on his followers. He spoke a lot to his followers about what he intended to do, which is what we are seeing that he's doing now. But some people would argue that he's the president of the entire country, irrespective of who, was a fan of him coming in or not, irrespective of who his followers are. Right now, he's responsible for the entire population of Nigeria, right? The entire country as a whole. Let's focus on the fuel subsidy removal just for a quick second here. Do you think he should have done something different? Should he have rushed into implementing it as fast as he did, or would there have been other things he should have put in place before he did that?
Obviously, he shouldn't have rushed into taking off subsidy. But I must tell you that I don't think it's the current president who actually removed subsidy. I think the past administration, the administration led by Muhammadu Buhari, actually had already proposed that subsidy will go this June. So the president coming to make the verbal statement that subsidy is gone, he's now been as if it was attributed to him. Subsidy has been discussed a long time ago. I remember sometime in Jonathan's administration, 2011, Jonathan actually removed subsidy and introduced what we call SHORP.
Absolutely.
Subsidy reinvestment program. Now these things are things that should work concurrently. You can't just remove subsidy and you don't have what the people are looking at on hand. But in as much as he has done that, he's still less than 1 month in office. And we're expecting to see a robust palliative measure towards this subsidy removal. If the question is, should subsidy go? I tell you, there are two major things that are mind-blowing in subsidy. First, what is subsidy? Subsidy is the government being able to provide fund for marketers who go to import petroleum outside the country. They are able to provide fund that will subsidize the petroleum that they are importing, so they can import it at a cheaper rate and sell at a cheaper rate. Now, when you take that off, they are going to import at a higher rate and sell at any rate they want. Okay. Now, should subsidy go? Yes. Why? The amount of money being put into subsidy is mind-blowing. If you go to find facts, fact checks, you find out that about 3.1 trillion, above 3 trillion, was budgeted for subsidy in this 2023 budget that Buhari presented to the National Assembly. Now, fast checks will also say that federal government puts in close to 40 billion naira every day on subsidizing petrol. These amounts of money are just too much. I tell you that the education budget and the health budget of 2022 put together is not up to 2 trillion naira. And subsidy is consuming above 3 trillion naira. And even with the subsidized fuel, we are not buying fuel at 50 naira or 100 naira. We are still buying fuel about 200 naira. Again, what mind-blowing thing do we have in subsidy? If you go to fact checks, you find out that subsidy, the amount, they are mind-blowing. We have about 50-something million liters that are being lifted. And the actual consumption rate is about 30-something of Nigerians, about 30-something million. So we have a deficit of about 20-something million that is also being subsidized. The actual subsidy should be that 30-something million liters that Nigerians consume a day. But what is being lifted is about 50-something million liters. So we have extra 20-something million liters that are still being subsidized. So that extra money is going. So the corruption in subsidy is just so mind-blowing that if you ask an average Nigerian who understands what subsidy is, should it go or should it not go? The answer is it should go.
I think the question most Nigerians, the issue most Nigerians have at the moment is not whether or not subsidy should have gone. Several administrations have been discussing taking away subsidy, and they eventually didn't. Some people would argue that there is a reason why they kept, stalling the process. Now, you earlier mentioned, while you were saying in the beginning of this answering this question, you said that it was former President Muhammadu Buhari that put that in motion. Yes, we know he did put in motion, but don't you think that President Tinubu could have put a hold on it for a moment? Because a lot of people are about the timing. Because now Nigerians are in very serious poverty and suffering. And in his inaugural speech, all he could say was, Nigerians have to sacrifice. This is a moment of sacrifice that Nigerians have to, we have to imbibe sacrifice. We have to sacrifice and be patient with the government. Do you think it could have been done differently?
Well, like I said, if it's for the timing, I think the timing is correct, because there's no time you're going to remove subsidy that will not have the same reaction. And why it's best to start the most difficult tax with the earliest of your administration is so that people can get along with it so quick and move on. But what we want to see the president do is tell us where this subsidy fund that you have removed, this 3-point-something trillion naira that you have removed, where is it going into? What is it going to be used to do? How are Nigerians going to benefit from this 3-point-something trillion naira that you have removed? Because if you say subsidy is gone, it means that Nigerians have a free 3-point-something trillion that is above the education and health budget in this country. So we have a whole lot of money that you can use to start alleviating the sufferings of Nigerians immediately. What sectors do you want to harness? What sectors do you want to put in place? Are you looking at the transport sector? Are you looking at the health sector? Are you looking at the education sector? What are you using these funds to do right now? Are you taking these funds to go and subsidize the health sector? Are you taking the fund to go and subsidize the education sector? Are you taking it to subsidize the transportation sector? You should know things that affect Nigerians. How are you going to use this fund that you have removed? Good, you've removed the fund. Whether it's time-based or it's not time-based, you have removed it. Now we have this fund lying there. What are you going to use it and do? Nigerians want to know.
Okay, great. We've been having this conversation with Dr. Emeka Mandela, and basically we're talking about the different policies that have been rolled out by President Tinubu in his administration over the past 3 weeks. Yeah, you could join the conversation per usual on our WhatsApp platform 0700 961. I'll call the number again 070 001 096 1961. I'd call it one last time, real slow, because you've been on my neck, all of you, saying that I called the numbers out too fast. It is 070 001 096 1961. Okay, that is the number you're supposed to reach out to us via. You could also call in live in the studio, but like I would always say, I would love it if you just drop a WhatsApp message. It would be easier for me. Okay, now back into the conversation. You mentioned, what is he doing with the funds? Now, fuel subsidy is not the only subsidy that the government is taking. Is removing generally. I mean, with the announcement of the student loan bill, it's obvious that the government is going to be taking out the subsidy on education and also offering, in their way, a cushion effect for that would be offering the student loan to the people. Do you think that is enough say cushion effect? That's the student loan bill. Now, do you believe it is enough a cushion effect or a palliative vis-a-vis the situation?
Okay, you see, the idea of the student loan is actually laudable. Almost all the Western countries and European countries actually have student loans. But the problem is, how do we go about ours? If you talk about removing education subsidy, it is not a very good idea. I would advise the president not to go into that area. Because if the student loan bill that is being proposed in Nigeria today is to see an increment in school fees, I think it's not a good idea. The reactions he's going to get from that, he might not like it. His students are a particular sort of group that you don't want to tamper. So, the most thing you can do is, because we have not seen the total framework of the loan scheme, you don't want to start subjecting students and their parents into more hardship by increasing the already huge school fees that they have to pay. If it's for the student loan, good and fine. It's a wonderful and laudable idea that Nigeria has come a time where people who their parents can't really afford tuition fees can now have grants, loans. And a quick look at that policy, looking at two areas. One area is who is qualified and how do you get qualified to get the student loan. You see, there are measures that the government are putting in place in that act that will make it quite difficult for a student to actually access the loan. There is a very laudable thing that every Nigerian should be tax worthy. So yes, saying that your parents or your guardians should have tax clearance before you can access the loan is a good thing. It's making us more responsible citizens towards paying tax. That is nice. Now again, going to say you need a surety, that is where a small caveat comes in. Asking for a surety of a level 16 or a level 12 civil servant or probably a director in the ministry, or asking for a lawyer of 10 years experience, we're looking at the downtrodden here. We're looking at the people who are actually at the poverty level. It means that these people, anybody who has a contact to a director of ministry don't need to look for student loan. Anybody who has a family relative who can surety him at a lawyer of 10 years doesn't need a student loan. So if we're looking for those, if we're actually trying to affect the life of the common man at the rural areas, we definitely know that these people don't have that connection to know directors in the ministries or lawyers of 10 years experience. So that caveat is very, very not friendly at all. And it should be looked into. Telling a director to come and surety someone in his village that if the person does not pay after the stipulated amount, the money is going to be taken out from the surety's account. Many people are going to run away from that. And you see that a lot of Nigerians will not be able to access this loan. And by this time, you have removed the subsidy by increasing the education fees. No, that's not acceptable. I think the president shouldn't go that area. He shouldn't go that route at all.
I mean, now you have said, with what you have said, it's almost safe to say that this administration is rolling out, different policies without necessarily finding a way to improve the lives of Nigeria or to cushion the effect on the Nigerians. What would you advise be the ways that this administration can actually help the Nigerian citizens to deal with the effects of these subsidies that are going to be removed or have been removed?
Okay, first is the government have to sit back and look at their reorientation and orientation programs. And what is this program? This program is a program that should be able to engage citizens before policies are being put out there, to tell them the advantages, the disadvantages, the benefits, and all what have you in such policies. You see, there are some rural areas in Nigeria where even if you go to bring development to them, such as road, the youths of those areas might see it as alien. You see them coming out and stopping the tractors and saying, what are you people doing here, But when you go before, engage the elders, engage the youths, and tell them, look, we want to create a road that will lead from here to this state or from here to this state, and it will be good for you people. And also, you see, when the tractors come, they welcome them. You don't just push things to people and just expect them to buy it. No, you're a servant leader. You're not a dictator. The president should see himself as a servant leader. Nigerians have come so aware of the recent happenings. In the last election, the consciousness of Nigerians towards the last election should tell whoever is sitting there as president that Nigerians are going to be on your neck. You're not just going to make policies and sit down in your chair and think it's going to drive that way. No, Nigerians are ready to follow you every single step, and you should be ready to be responsible for anything you say.
I mean, the president has come out on several occasions, one being during on Democracy Day. During his speech, he said he's expecting Nigerians to hold him accountable. He begged to be president, so Nigerians should actually, hold him accountable to the things he has promised Nigerians, which would lead me to my next question about the priorities of the president, if it is in line with what the Nigerians need at the moment. We see him, suspending the CBN governor, putting him under investigation with the DSS. He did the same thing with Bawa, the EFCC boss. Would you say that all of these things that he has done, all of the policies he has put out, all of the decisions he has made in his very first few weeks in office, are they in line with the priorities of Nigerians at the moment?
They're not. Speaking from a Nigerian point of view and speaking from the point of view of someone who actually aspires to lead this nation, I think I need to remind the president that the primary purpose of government, as enshrined in Section 14(2)(b), is security and welfare remains the primary purpose of government. Security and welfare should be the first things he should be rolling out in his first 100 days or first 10 days or first 20 days in office. We shouldn't be seeing suspensions here and there. Even if those suspensions are to be made, it shouldn't be public. It should be part of his achievements. If anybody is of questionable character or have corruption allegations against him, he can step aside quietly. The security agencies do their investigations. It shouldn't be a trending news. What should be trending right now, what the president should be happy about, is policies he's putting on ground that can make the welfare of Nigerians be better off. Nigerians actually suffered 80 years of hardship under the last administration, which I know that President Buhari, wherever he is, would know that he disappointed Nigerians woefully. He disappointed Nigerians woefully. So we don't want a President Tinubu to come and continue from that stride. His first policy should be things that should make Nigerians smile. If the President Tinubu came on board and the first thing we are hearing is, dollar has dropped to 400 naira per dollar. Fuel has dropped from 200 naira to 150 naira or 100 naira. This should have been something so nice of the president to start his administration.
Some people say that, President Tinubu is doing all of this to earn the love of Nigerians, considering the official results of the election would show that the country was almost split into three during the election. Almost, emphasis on the word almost. He won by a very, very slight margin, a lot of people say. Now, some people say to win the approval of Nigerians, wouldn't it have been better for President Tinubu to come out and be as sincere as Yaradua? One of the major things that made Nigerians to, accept and love the late President Musa Yaradua was he said, well, there were some things that happened that put me in office that shouldn't have happened, but I'm here now. We are going to work together to have a nation together, because you could tell that some Nigerians are not entirely pleased with the coming of president. A lot of people are saying, oh, maybe he's doing all of this to make Nigerians to love him. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I agree with you when you said Nigerians were split into three during the last elections, and a lot of Nigerians, not some Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians are not pleased with the process that brought in President Tinubu. A lot of Nigerians are not pleased with that. And like you said, it would be very good for the president if his people are listening to the voice of the people. I think it's very good that he borrows from President Musa Yar'Adua's leaf by first of all coming to apologize to Nigerians for the process that actually brought him into office. If he wants to please Nigerians, if he wants to make peace with Nigerians, if he wants to be at ease with Nigerians, it's not by suspending the whole world. Yes, we know Emefiele frustrated Nigerians, so suspending Emefiele would be a very people will be happy. We know that Bawa will shunt a lot of people. If they suspend, people will be happy. But that's not just it. The fact remains that if you want to be at peace with the people, why are the people not happy with you? Just take a leap of faith, take a bold step, and tell Nigerians, oh yes, I'm still not your president now, fine. But whatever process that you people are not happy with that brought me into office, can we just put it on one side and move ahead as a team? Let's see how we can manage this country.
But would you think this would be a right time for him to do that, considering, tribunal is still on? He's not supposed to make those kind of statements about the election while court is still, holding and all of that.
Well, like you said.
Would there be a ripple effect if he does something like that?
No, like you said, he is the sitting president. Whether we want to take it or not, he's the sitting president. All the constitutional powers have been given to him, whether we are in tribunal or not. So he has assumed full responsibility and duties of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So you don't think that's some kind of political suicide?
No, I don't think so.
If you were in his shoes, considering you were an aspirant yourself, is that a move you think you'd be able to make?
In fact, that would be one of the first moves I'll make. I'll make peace with the people. The tribunal is there. It's a legal process. It's a legal battle. Right? My being at peace with the people will not change the effect of the tribunal. And my being at war with the people will not either change the effect of the tribunal. The tribunal is a legal battle. It's a legal framework. They're going to use constitutional terminologies and the wordings to actually come to the conclusion of that tribunal. So, I have a government to run. And if the people I am ruling are not happy of the process that brought me in, my first policy should be, okay, you might not think I was the best person during the elections, but now I can prove to you that I'm a better person as an administrator. By my engagement with you. See, what people want in Nigeria are responsible leaders who can communicate with them, leaders who can understand that they have the responsibility to communicate with the followers. If President Tinubu wants to bridge that gap, he should open a channel between him and Nigerians, an effective communication channels between him and Nigerians, and he will see himself. You see, there is no joy that gives a leader. There's no joy a leader has than when his followers actually believe in what he's doing. If Mr. President Tinubu wants, he can suspend every single person who have witch hunted Nigerians in the past. It won't make Nigerians love him.
Okay, now let's talk about these policies that he has. Let's come back to the policies. The policies are sustainable. All of them that he has put out. all the bills that have been signed, all the policies that all the policies that have been put in place, would you say that these are sustainable policies, especially considering that there is no cushioning effect for the Nigerian people? There is no there's no he hasn't put anything in place to reduce the long-term effects on these policies have on the people.
Yeah, you see, one of the poor cultures of the Nigerian government system is sustainability of their policies, their projects, their programs. You can trace back to find out that there are a lot of projects that have been started by previous administrations that are still ongoing or that have been abandoned. The same thing with policies. A lot of programs, for instance, the Short P is no longer in vogue, and I think the Empower is also going to phase off. The Market People's Women, all those things, all those policies that administration just comes and starts and then it phases off over time. It's not the best. I think we need to learn a lot from the Western world. I think we are just choosy in things from the Western world, or the governance system of the Western world. We need to learn how the administration of the Western countries affects the lives of the common man. One simple thing, I think the president should be thinking of is towards sustainability of his policies. You see, we need to have a nation that has a roadmap. We don't need a nation where a president comes in and upturn the whole direction of the country. The United States of America, for instance, they have a roadmap. Has a roadmap.
People would argue that he is the king of that. You've heard a lot of people say he's a master planner and all of that. People have said when he was in Lagos State, he set the precedents for where Lagos State is now. We've heard that, even though there are sides to it. Some people argue that no, that wasn't him. But a lot of people have said and have attested to the fact that President Tinubu, while he was governor in Lagos State, actually did that, created a roadmap and set it. Do you think that's the same thing he's trying to do here?
Okay, you see why that system is not going to be supported like people like us, because that system will be personalized. Some people will still tell you that Lagos is personalized today by the current president. You see, when we talk about a roadmap, we are talking about a legislative roadmap. We need the National Assembly to sit down. This 10th National Assembly need to come together and sit down and define a roadmap where Nigeria would be in the next 5 years, where Nigeria will be in the next 20 years, where Nigeria will be in the next 50 years. And every elected president who comes on board has to follow that roadmap. A roadmap doesn't need to be one man's vision or one man's idea. The National Assembly is a conglomerate of different people representing different ideologies of the Nigerians at the grassroots level. Now, when these people come together and bring a roadmap, I think that roadmap will be affecting every community in the country.
Very sad that we have just about 5 minutes to finish up with this segment. 4 minutes basically. I want to say there are so many things I wish we could talk about. Let me just quickly put my thoughts together. You mentioned the legislative arm of government. We've seen how independent and not so independent this legislative arm is. The 10th Assembly right now, they just got inaugurated last week. A lot of people are talking about how the president was actively involved in trying to get I'm talking about Fabio now, the president of the Senate, in his seat in office. It was said he even had to sneak out of his house to go and visit some people, talk to them, play politics to put him there. Do you think that with the kind of, and that will be in wrapping up, do you think that with the kind of governance, with the things we've seen, will the legislative actually step up to that? Or are we just going to have he who pays the piper?
Unfortunately, we've been having rubber stamped legislations, the national assemblies, and I don't think this one is going to be any better. But what I know right now is that I think Nigerians need to focus on the National Assembly more than the president at this time. Why do we need to do that? The National Assembly are direct representatives of the people, and the people have a recall rights. You cannot recall the president, unfortunately, but you can recall a man serving you in your federal constituency or your senatorial district. If you think he goes to National Assembly and stamp every people-oriented bills that the president brings on board, the Nigerian people, true voice of the people like this, can come out and speak up and call people at the various constituencies, start a recall process. By the time you get this National Assembly people on their heels, they will sit down with the president and tell him, look, these people are coming after us. We have to do something. The whole powers right now protest the president. So there's little or nothing we Nigerians can do to the president. But we can do things to our representatives who have the right to get the president seated up or actually impeach him.
All right, thank you very much. In the final thing I have to ask, you have been an aspirant yourself. You've wanted to sit in the position of President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What would you have done differently from what the current president is doing?
If I were president, the first thing I'm going to do in my first 100 days in office is to open an effective communication mechanism with Nigerians, giving them first-hand information and first-hand policies that I will be bringing on board, the advantages and the disadvantages. I will create what we call a very, very proper reorientation agency in this country that will engage Nigerians, that will have to engage Nigerians with the way they see things, their leaders, policies, government issues. Nigerians have to be engaged squarely before we start moving in, because I don't want to be a president where I bring in a good policy that I feel is good for the people and the people rejects it. So I need to make sure that I'm in the same page with Nigerians, because I am actually serving Nigerians.
This has been a very, very interesting conversation. Just before we came up, I remember telling you that I was looking forward to the conversation, and I must say all my expectations were met and even beyond. Thank you very much, Dr. Emeka Mandela, for coming in the house. What are your final words in conclusion, just to wrap up this segment?
So, Nigerians, we have a new government in power, and what we have to do is not to sleep. We have to follow this government day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, not just the federal government, your state governors, your House of Assembly members, your senators, your House of Rep members, most especially the National Assembly. We need to get them on their toes, Nigerians. We're not sleeping.
All right, he said it, we're not sleeping. Like I always say when we wrap up any segment right here on Matters, if it matters to one Nigerian, it matters to every single Nigerian. It is our responsibility to collectively move this nation to where we want it to be. I'm Chinwe. Blessing Matters continues with Formula U. Today, we celebrate World Sickle Cell Day. Of course, we'll be having conversations about it. Stay with us, and thank you very much for coming to the studio. Good afternoon.